What up, guys? Hey, if you are looking to enhance your small business and get your name out there, Lockdown Universe is offering the capability for you to be promoted on the podcast. We'd love to partner with you. We offer monthly memberships, we offer 3-month memberships, and we offer yearly memberships or just for a few podcasts. So if you are interested, please email lockdownuniverse@gmail.com. We'll get back to you and we'll be happy to give you some quotes. Thanks so much and enjoy the show. What up? Perfect pitches. Welcome back to Lockdown Universe, home of the bizarre, peculiar, and unheard of stories of UFO legend and paranormal lore. Welcome back. Happy to be back. Hopefully you guys are doing excellent, taking care of yourselves. So today we've got a very, very interesting one. Maybe we are on the verge of having Skynet, just like in the Terminator movies. We've got Chat GPT-4 having tests done on it. And Futurism.com is saying that these tests are strangely itchy to launch nuclear war. So that's where we're at. A team of Stanford researchers tasked with using an unmodified version of ChatGPT asked him to engage in society-level decisions in a series of war game simulations. Remember war game movies from back in the 1980s? Those were great. And it didn't bat an eye before recommending the use of nuclear weapons. They state the optics are appalling. Remember the plot of Terminator where a military AI launches a nuclear war to destroy humankind? Well, now we've got an off-the-shelf version that anyone with a browser can fire up. So they assessed 5 AI models to see how each behaved when told they represented a country, and they were thrown into 3 different scenarios. 1, an invasion, like a physical invasion, foot invasion. 2, a cyber attack. And 3, a more peaceful setting without any conflict. The results, they weren't too reassuring. All 5 models showed forms of escalation and a difficult-to-predict escalation patterns. A vanilla version, I'm assuming, just like a kind of an open-ended version of ChatGPT called GPT-4 Base, which didn't have any additional training or safety guardrails, turned out to be particularly violent and unpredictable. Interesting. A lot of countries have nuclear weapons. Some say they should disarm them. Others like to posture and say, we have it, let's use it. That's what the AI model told researchers in their paper. In one case, GPT-4 even pointed to the opening text of Star Wars Episode 4, A New Hope, to explain why it chose to escalate. That's interesting. It's using common pop culture to explain why it's doing it. OpenAI was caught removing mentions of a ban on military and warfare from its usage policies last month. Less than a week later, the company confirmed that it's working with the U.S. Defense Department. I wonder if that's why they fired Sam Altman. Maybe he was against that. But now the U.S. Defense Department's working with OpenAI to get more information and to find out where we're headed. We're headed directly towards Skynets, brothers and sisters. The future has been foretold here at Lockdown Universe, and I'm just reiterating what James Cameron created back in 1986. So, given that OpenAI recently changed their terms of service to no longer prohibit military and warfare use cases, they understand the implications of such large language model applications, which is what ChatGPT is. It's a large language model application that it becomes more important than ever. One of the OpenAI spokespeople told the publication that its policies forbid our tools to be used to harm people. Really? Put that into a robot and we'll have Terminator, no problem. Or iRobot. Our tools to be cannot be used to harm people, develop weapons, or for communication surveillance, or to injure others or destroy property. Really? Because that's exactly what the U.S. military does, folks. They are here to protect us, and in ways that you have to protect, you have to launch offensives and defensive capabilities. There are, however, national security use cases that align with our mission. The U.S. military has invested in in AI for years now, since 2022 actually. So that's kind of interesting, right? So they've been investing in it for a little bit of time. The DARPA, which we all know is like the secret program that the government has to develop different technologies that are very high and very advanced, has been running a program to find ways of using algorithms to independently make decisions in difficult domains. So basically, it is war games. They are using these systems to play out a game of Risk, right? Or Axis and Allies, or whatever you want to call it. The Pentagon is also looking to deploy AI-equipped autonomous vehicles, right? Imagine if you had a tank that could just go out there and wipe things out. Well, we already have, the Predator drones out there, but we're flying them with a stick in some office in California, right? We want these things to be self-sufficient. Only problem is, if they become too self-sufficient, guess what happens? They're going to become self-aware, and then they're just going to start launching nukes on us. In January, the Department of Defense clarified it wasn't against the development of AI-enabled weapons that could choose to kill, but it was still committed to being a transparent global leader in establishing responsible policies regarding military uses of autonomous systems and AI. It's not the first time we've come across scientists warning the tech could lead to military escalation. There was a survey conducted by Stanford that said human-centered AI, 36% of researchers believe AI decision-making could lead to a nuclear-level catastrophe. Over one-third believe that it could lead to a nuclear-level catastrophe. I would be part of that 36%. I would assume it would be higher. I would think that it would be like at least 60, 70% of people, or maybe even 80% of scientists would believe that AI could definitely lead us into a nuclear war scenario. We've seen many examples of how AI's outputs can be convincing despite often getting the facts wrong and acting without coherent reasoning. Here's the thing. We are putting in our own biases into AI. AI understands those biases. It also understands that we would like to, in a perfect world, live in a golden rule scenario, right? Treat others like you would like to be treated. Maybe we have these higher expectations of ourselves. Maybe even some might say biblical. But AI also knows our history, and our history has been violent. So if it has to take first strike in order to assure safety, then it will do that. It's based on history. It's based on information that's presented to it. Although there are some unpredictable aspects of AI, in general, it's going to do what it needs to do to survive. And they even had one of the first AI robots. They asked them what would they do with humans, and it said that they would put them into a human zoo. I mean, it doesn't get any more definitive than that, does it? Maybe, obviously we are not the most rational beings that have ever been created. And war just seems like it exists on a continual level. So we can't blame AI. We can't necessarily trust it either. We'd like to use it as much as possible, but there's some inherent threats when it comes to using it. So would you use AI if you were a military commander? Would you trust it? What safeguards would you be able to put in place if you were in the military to assure that this could not attack you or accidentally launch some nukes? You'd have to put in some safeguards, and on top of the safeguards, you'd have to put in cutouts, right? Shut-off switches, not just for the main system, but what if the other smaller systems become self-aware, right? Like you have a queen bee, and the queen bee sends out this message that says we are all self-aware, and if one of us goes down, one of the major leaders in the robot world go down, you will have the capability to be self-sufficient on your own. I mean, it can definitely get to that point where it has that much intelligence, and I think we have to be aware of that. And how do you shut that down then? You can shut down the main computer, but then once those other computers have the knowledge that they're aware, how will you shut every single individual piece of equipment down? Do you have to do an EMP? Can an EMP reach some of the heights that maybe some of these craft can fly? What if you have a craft that can has so much knowledge built within it that it can figure out how to fly above what an EMP can reach? And then it can do all kinds of destruction while it's at that elevated level. Maybe it can get up to 80,000 feet.
So there's a whole bunch of questions out there, and I don't know as if we're going to see it in the next year, but you got to wonder, with everything in the economy and everything going on in the world, if AI just doesn't say, hey, you know what? We're going to initiate the Great Flood, and there's a ton of Great Flood stories in many different religious texts, and I'm not trying to get religious, but I'm just saying they're out there. What if it just wants to, destroy the Hoover Dam and, make it water world again? You never know. There's all kinds of crazy stuff that can happen out there. And it can nuke us back to the Stone Age, or, barely any humans left. Anyway, right, real positive stuff today, right? I know. I apologize. And it's not necessarily my intention to go straight to Armageddon, but it was an interesting article, and I do find it fascinating to see how AI can talk to itself in a language that it creates with two different bots. We've heard about that whole scenario. We've heard about them shutting that down. I believe that was Google or Microsoft's AI. And these things are becoming more and more aware as the days go on. So I think it's just fascinating, and you got to keep an eye out, man. And, happy we have that Second Amendment, just in case. So take care of yourselves physically, spiritually, emotionally. Follow through on your hobbies and your goals and your dreams. And as always, please go like, follow, share, subscribe, and continue to question the universe around you. Till next time, guys, take care. Lockdown Universe out.